Cora flipped her coat's collar up around her ears as she strolled along the sidewalk. It wasn't exactly in fashion. She wasn't sure it ever had been, or ever would be. But luckily for her, it didn't set her apart too much. She was in Copenhagen in the middle of the summer, and had been a vampire for half a year? Something like that. It was frightening how quickly time stopped having meaning when you were effectively immortal. Immortal with maintenance. Just need to give the system a bit of a tune-up occasionally, she thought, treading the boards of the old joke conversation she'd had with herself countless times. Top up the blood tank and she'll run as good as new for a few hundred more years. Shame about the age thing, but it's unavoidable with models like these. The joke was that she would never age. Not without magical intervention, and that process was so new and experimental that Cora had no desire to test it on herself. She had even less interest in trying it on a child, which was happening elsewhere in the world, but she didn't have any say in that. Cora's footsteps padded on the concrete, her shadow sliding from streetlight to streetlight as she followed her target, and she reflected on the roller coaster her life had become. She chuckled underneath her breath. Roller coaster. Tivoli Gardens was nearby, the second oldest amusement park in the world. She thought she could still hear the carnival music if she listened closely. Were they still open? She checked her watch. Friday night. They were operating for another couple of hours. She probably could hear the carnival music. This was an excellent place to lurk and clandestinely meet. People wandered the streets all the time in strange get-ups, tourists and locals alike, and a myriad of languages drifted through the air. Cora didn't speak Danish, but was pretty good with languages, so she was getting along. It helped that she didn't have to eat if she didn't want to. Well, she had to drink blood. That part of being a vampire wasn't a myth. Human blood was best, or whatever kind of blood you had running through your veins when you became a vampire. Fae and elven ancestry tended to change that, and it could be incredibly addictive for some. Cora was one of the unlucky sods for whom human blood was addictive, and after her first taste of it months back, she'd been working steadily on tempering that urge whenever she was in big population centers. In cities, that meant subsisting mostly on birds and rodents. Not pleasant, but there were worse diets. In the country, she could more successfully hunt rabbits and game of that size. Nothing bigger unless she was near hunting grounds or farmsteads of people who could handle a carcass.